it all the time. All right. Here's
This shit's fire.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin to Gas podcast. And you guys know the deal. This episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take total control. I had a brain fart there for a minute of all your financial future. Get your complimentary financial needs analysis today by Seth Starnes. Do you know who Seth Starnes is, Brandon?
Yeah. Seth was actually involved with our KTM Cup program when I was racing in the KTM Cup. So.
Absolutely amazing. He's an absolute proper mega dude. And then my second sponsor on this is Bison. Everybody knows Bison, Brandon. I try to get all my friends, don't spend your money on an off-the-rack suit, Brandon, right? Because for 90% of us, it's not going to fit us correctly. I mean, which means it's going to hinder your riding style, your performance, cause arm pumps, all kinds of issues. So I recommend everybody go to bisontrack.com and get your full custom suit started. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor, and I finally caught him to sit down with me on the podcast. Two-time Daytona 200 winner, Moto3 BSB champ, and a legend himself, Brandon Passch. Welcome to Pin to Gas, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry it took so long to get on here. I know we've been kind of talking about the idea of doing it for a little while, so sick to finally get some time and sit down with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And for those who don't know, we hung out for a little bit at VIR. I try to, when I show up to the races and I see all my friends, I understand you guys got a job to do. So I just like to say hi, what's up, and let you guys focus on what you're doing. But when you're away from there, roaming through the pitch, yeah, that's when I get you and pull you to the side and beat you up a little bit, you know?
Definitely.
Absolutely. But Brandon, man, we got so much to talk about. I'm interested really in how did you get started with two wheels? Where did your journey begin?
I had a little Honda Z50, and my grandparents have a farm literally right next to my house. So kind of grew up learning how to ride that thing on the farm, and then started racing motocross, and wasn't too great at it. Found NJ Mini GP and kind of transferred over to the asphalt stuff. And honestly, looking back, there's just less people doing it, but I thought I was better at it because I was doing well. There's just way less people doing it. So of course I was going to do better. And I just liked it more probably because the results were better, and kept going and actually became decent. So
decent. You're an absolute legend, dude. Are you kidding me right now? You got two rollies to show for it, a title in BSB. How many Americans can say they got a title over there?
0.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, so obviously your dad was a fan of the sport, right? That's how you got into it to begin with, and then transitioning from the dirt to road racing, was that quite easy for you?
Yeah, kind of, because I was on little bikes still, and it's pretty much just a mini supermoto, which is pretty close to a dirt bike. So right away, I mean, I was comfortable, and had way more grip underneath me, and it was just easier to do for me than dirt. So
yeah. It's are you still a fan of dirt bikes?
Yeah. We watch most of the pro nationals and supercross and dirt track and everything. So I kind of pay attention to everything a little bit.
Yeah, obviously you watch BSB, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I've not been following it quite as close as I was when I was there, but I still tune in every now and again.
Yeah, obviously we talked about this. I'm a huge fan, and like I tell everybody, you can watch it for free. BennettsBritishSuperbikes.com, and boom, as the race weekend goes, it's all free, which I absolutely love. Right? I think that it's good for the sport to have something where you can watch it free instead of a paid. But I get the paid situation too, right? But yeah, so Brandon, dude, starting your journey in road racing, coming up from dirt to the street, getting into track days and club racing and all that. How did this whole Moto3 BSB adventure start with you?
So I kind of grew up racing on the kart tracks and always watched Moto3 and World Superbike, but mainly Moto3 and the 125 class. And USGPRU was pretty big when I was, racing mini bikes. And by the time I got onto the 125s, 250s, USGPRU kind of died off a little bit. But that was kind of the path that I went early on, was watching the USGPRU and the British 125 stuff and World Championship. And I was super enticed by that, and kind of kept going little by little, keep moving up. And I think 2014, I did my first wild card in this like junior cup class. It's called the Milwaukee Junior Cup or Milwaukee something cup. And I went over there to Assen and got my doors blew off, finished like 14th or something in my first race. And then I was even more addicted because I wanted to figure out how to do better. And came back the next year. I did 3 rounds of the Milwaukee Cup and 2 rounds of the KTM Cup in MotoAmerica. And I think I podiumed in all of them. So it was like a good way to kind of start my career racing on the big track. And the following year, actually, I wanted to go to British Championship, but we couldn't afford to do it. And I kind of got saved by Dr. Laura Ellis to go ride the KTM 390 Cup. And then, wound up winning that.
That's absolutely amazing. And of course, I seen you. That's actually when I first heard of you is when I was watching BSP. I was like, we got an American and British. What? Wait, what? Who is this Brandon Passch dude? Like, who is this guy? And then so you raced in BSP, right? It has been a while ago, but how did you get? What do you think of the tracks versus our American tracks?
Honestly, I had a lot of fun riding the British tracks. When I first started over there, I was on the Milwaukee 250. Then I was on Moto3 bikes for 2.5 years. And then finally my last year there, I rode that 765 in Super Sport, which was honestly a lot more fun just being on a bigger bike and having some power underneath you at these like big go-kart tracks pretty much is what they race. And the tracks over there are so badass. Like the layouts are all good. They're all like natural terrain. None of it's like, I don't know. It just seems like super natural and everything flows so well. And it's definitely a little bit sketchier than the tracks over here for sure. But they're all a blast, especially Cadwell.
Dude, I love Cadwell. It is my favorite track in the world. I went there in August of last year. It was, Brandon, you watch tracks all the time. You see them on TV, the undulations and all this stuff, right? But when you show up in real life, the first thing that hit me, I was like, holy shit, this race is literally this wide.
Yeah,
I was like,
insane.
Absolutely. So I showed up on their race weekend when I went was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I showed up on a Thursday or Friday. They were actually doing a track day there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first I went to is the mountain jump, right? Like, who don't?
That's like right when you walk in.
Bro, as soon as you walk in. And they weren't really jumping it. And then fast forward to Saturday, I show up. Bro, Ryan Vickers and Josh Brooks were just straight sending it. I was like, holy shit. My mouth was wide open the whole time. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now. Because seeing it on TV versus seeing it in real life is just.
Yeah, those two are pretty gnarly over the mountain. But first time I ever went over there to Cadwell, actually, we there's like that cafe right at the top of the mountain. And we walked up in there, drinking a coffee. I'm looking down at the track. And at the time I was like, I looked over at my mechanic. I was like, dude, pit lane is so narrow here. He was like, that's the track. And I was like, what? Dude, this is insane. And that thing's pretty much like as wide as a go-kart track in America. So it's not very forgiving when you make a mistake.
No, it's not. It's I'm telling you, to me, it's like a little bit of let's see, it's an open road course and a little TTS, because once you come over the mountain course, the track stays as wide, but the tire walls are like this close.
Yeah,
right?
The tire walls are right on the track, and it's all one line. Yep. All through those S's. Like you jump the mountain, as soon as you jump the mountain, honestly, before you jump the mountain, it's all one line as well through those first 2 chicanes and then up the mountain. And then from there to the last corner is just one line. Like you can't really pass anybody there. I've seen a couple passes, but it's not very typical.
No, it's not. It's such a bad. And at Brands Hatch, I've been to Brands Hatch too. When we left Cadwell, my buddy that I stayed with says, I got a surprise for you, because he lives, I think, right outside of Kent, if I can remember. But anyway, he said, man, close your eyes. Are coming up on it. I closed my eyes. I opened it up, and boom, we're at I was like, Brands Hatch. I was like, shut up, dude. So listen, we pull up to the gate. You can't do this shit in America, people, but over there it's okay, obviously. So we pull up to the gate, Brandon, and Daniel rolls down his window and he says, hey, man, I got my buddy here from America. You don't mind if we come through so I can show him the circuit? And the dude's like, yeah, okay, go ahead, go in, but you just can't make laps around the track. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, this is awesome. So we went in there. I seen the podium, crossed the track, went down to where I guess the main is down there at the bottom of Cadwell, and then the main garage is on it. Dude, it was absolutely amazing. Now that track is
That
this
track's cool
wide.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a completely different vibe to Cadwell. And then we have like over there, Thruxton. It's pretty much like a big right circle with a couple chicanes in it. And that track is gnarly. Like the asphalt's so old and it's just like big rocks. So when it rains, like it doesn't even get wet on the top. You can still run, like they race DOTs in Super Sport. So we're still running DOTs in the rain over there.
That's
and we're like a second, 2 seconds off of our dry lap times while it was raining.
That tells you how much grip that track has. That's insane. Yeah, that is insane. So would you ever go back to be a speed racer?
Yeah. I would love to. Either like Super Stock 1000 or Superbike, or honestly even Super Sport, because that class is pretty gnarly as well. And I still almost feel like I have unfinished business in that class, just with like the amount of crashes I had and like a couple injuries throughout the year. Still managed a couple podiums and a pole position, but I really wanted that race win, and I wanted to be able to fight for the championship over there. So it's kind of disappointing in my book how that year went.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe you have an opportunity to go back and tackle that unfinished business and bring home that #1 plate to the USA, right?
Oh yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. Which you already did. You already did for us, right? In the Moto3 class. Now let me ask you this: what's your favorite track over there?
Man, there's so many good ones, but I probably have like 3 favorite tracks over there, which is Cadwell, just because of the mountain. It's so fun to ride. Like doing track days there and stuff is so sick. Alton Park, I've always had a good history at Alton Park. Always ride well there, and I feel like the track flows pretty good, and it's more of like not American style, but it's like very almost like Pittsburgh sort of deal with all the elevation and chicanes and all that stuff. So that one's pretty cool. And then Snetterton, that was my first and only pole position in Super Sport, but it also broke my wrist. So that's a love-hate one. Same with Alton Park, actually. I set my first pole position there and then broke my wrist. Both times. I've only had a couple pole positions over there, and 2 of them I broke my wrist, and one was in warm-up and the other one was in the first race. So
yeah, but that's part of the game we play, right? Well, I don't play. That's part of the game you play, and we watch as fans. I actually have a question from a good buddy of mine, Daniel Shoemake. He wants me to ask you about your body position on a supermoto. He says he's gotten both sides of the argument: foot out on motocross style or knee down road race style. For someone who is nearly 100% pavement, does the foot out method really help?
Honestly, on the supermoto, I never ride foot out unless I'm either entering a dirt section or leaving a dirt section. Other than that, I'm knee down, just because for my style, I can carry so much more corner speed with my knee out than I can with my foot out. Just comfortability, I feel like. But I've seen people fast with foot out, but honestly, I've never seen anybody faster than me that has foot out. So I've always been faster knee out than anybody I've ever seen foot out. And that was against like Lucas Holbacher, the world champ. So he was world champ? I don't know.
He was world champ. Yeah, I think he was. Again, Brandon, you're an absolute
close.
Legend. Yeah, I'm trying to think. He was close. I don't know if he won or not. That's something I have to look up. But it's and I love your supermoto videos. I mean, who don't? I'll never forget the one I seen of you. I forget what city you was in, but you were playing the Little Yachty Spit the Whole Time song, and I was like, bro.
Oh yeah, that was Atlanta.
Yes,
Atlanta.
That whole vibe with that video, the style, the way you shot that, or whoever shot that video with that song was just like perfect. I was like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, we actually, it was like a concept idea that I had to do a supermoto series, but more film orientated. And I had 2 of my buddies, Billy Klingsporn, who's Klings Media. He does a lot of videos for I don't even know now, but he works for the Bucks full time for like his day job. And then I think he films for like Ray Hall, and he still films for me here and there and does all my photos now. And then we had Ian on that film project as well, who is now Josh Herron's film guy. But me and Ian basically Ian and Billy filmed for years straight, just doing vlogs at the races and stuff like that. and then like training vlogs. And I just had this idea like, hey, we should do like an actual series and do like 4 or 5 episodes, and had like a whole plan in my head. First episode went perfect. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. And then we started like missing steps of like the actual film process of like doing the other stuff that's not the track stuff. And then it started to fall apart a little bit, and we gathered it back up for that Atlanta episode. But yeah, that was definitely pretty cool. We basically spent like, had to have been a month in my van between all 3 of us. Just like, I drove out to Arizona to do that AMA Supermoto National, and that was where we did our first episode. So we were out there for damn near a week between the actual filming and then the race weekend. And then we drove from there to Texas and filmed for 4 days in Texas or 5 days in Texas, and then hung out for a little bit down there and drove home. So, and then we drove to Atlanta. Actually, that one was filmed like, man, I don't know, like 2 weeks before the Daytona 200. Like we're like, man, we need to get this episode in before the season starts. And I flew both of them to Florida because I was down there for the winter, and I was like, we're going to Atlanta. Like, just hop in the van, we're off. And then we spent like probably 4 or 5 days in Atlanta, filming and hanging out and experiencing Atlanta. But that was definitely a super cool project. And my plan with that was to kind of pull in a couple sponsors off of that, and then do a second series. And I still do have a bunch of ideas for videos. I just got to get some funding coming in to actually turn it into reality. But hopefully in the future, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And you're an absolute, man, I keep saying legend. I love your Supermoto videos. Like, I see you come in front sliding, rear sliding, elbow down. I'm like, dude, this is like absolute magic, right? How long did it take you to learn that?
I want to say I started really riding the Supermoto bike probably in 2018, somewhere around then. And I didn't really have the slides like that sick until 2020. But yeah, 2020, it really started kicking off. Me and Gray Fam were filming at the Heron compound of all places, and had a couple videos go, like, at the time we thought it was viral. It was like a couple 100,000 views, and we were like, this is sick. Like, we need to do some more Supermoto filming. And then slowly from there, it was like every off season, I train all the time on the Supermoto bike anyway. So we were like, dude, let's just film my training days and start posting the videos and get a big following, and this will be sick. And that's kind of what we did. And it was like every off season, we kind of just kept taking it up just a notch every year with, like, we were doing some stupid stuff like riding on the streets and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really do too much of anymore. But we'll definitely go poach a spot every now and again if it's cool enough. But I try to stay away from that, stay out of trouble. And the on-track stuff, I kept, like, I felt like elevating the bar, like a lot of other people are riding Supermoto too, but I don't think anybody has really had as much like success as far as like the video stuff goes, other than Holbacher and Ashton and Gus a little bit. But there's not really too many people around the world that are like posting that kind of sliding and just Supermoto content in general. So it's kind of an untapped market at the time.
Standing up on the back seat, riding monos through the town. I was like, bro, this is absolutely awesome. So I got a good buddy, Dustin Cornier. I know you know who Dustin Cornier is, right? So he wants me to ask you about flipping off track day dudes.
Yeah, dude. So this actually didn't even happen. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I've never flipped somebody off at a track day. Like, usually it's my friends. Like, we're just messing around on the track, and they're like throwing their hands around, like passing each other really close and messing around. But there was a podcast like Dustin did. I think it was with Stamboli, and like, I don't know who else was on it, but I guess somebody had told them that at this test M4 team did at Mid Ohio that I was flipping people off or something at the track day. And I was like, first of all, that never happened. So like, you guys need to figure that one out. I don't know where you're getting your information, but that actually never happened. So then we had to make a bunch of calls, because I was like, dude, I want to know who's like kind of talking shit a little bit. Like, I actually didn't do that. Like, it'd be one thing, if I did flip somebody off, I don't care, roast me for it, but don't be bringing it up acting like I'm an idiot for no reason. At least let me earn my status, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's also because he asked me, he said, dude, it's a little inside joke between us, and started laughing. I was like, I got you, bro. I'll definitely ask him. And then, of course, Ryan Ross says BP96 is the man. We know.
Thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely, we know. Yeah, Ryan's awesome. I actually met him for the first time in Atlanta this year. We've been friends for a while, and finally got to meet him and his dad, and well, his wife now was he married then in Atlanta? I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, so it was absolutely an honor. That's what I tell everybody. It's an absolute honor. Yeah, good stuff. And then my good buddy Northeast Jules, he says, Posh, see you in Jersey, man.
Oh yeah, we'll be there, ready to rip.
Absolutely. I know, dude. And last year, Jersey was a fucking nightmare, dude, with the rain. I was like, holy shit. And my buddies, Isaac and Woodworth and Levy Batty and Eli Colby, I know you know all them guys, was like, dude, when it rains, you're gonna need to bring like rain boots. It's gonna completely flood back here. I was like, bullshit, it's not gonna be that bad. It was definitely that bad.
Jersey in the rain is definitely a different animal, that's for sure. I don't know how it'll be now with the new asphalt, but old asphalt, not so much grip in the rain. And I tested that out pretty good.
It's and yeah, because they did repave it, and it was everybody was complaining about how bumpy it was.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's my home track, so I gotta love it, but it's still bumpy. Like, everybody thinks that this magic repave just happened and we're gonna be doing like 12s around there or something stupid, but I think everybody's gonna be kind of surprised with how bumpy it still actually is. It definitely has more grip, and it'll probably be faster, I would assume, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as everybody hoped, I don't think.
How do you feel about Mid-Ohio since they paved it? Have you had a chance to test that out yet?
Yeah, so we tested at Mid-Ohio. We did one day there before Barber, and it was pretty good, but it's almost the same thing with like when Barber was repaved, or the first year at Road America, or the first year at Laguna. I don't know about Road America, I wasn't there, but the first year at Laguna when it was repaved, so last year, it just tears the tires pretty heavy. It's like almost too grippy, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, it does.
And it's so smooth that it has not so much feel. Might be different now because this was like one of the first bike days on the track after it was paved. So maybe it'll be a little bit more broken in by the time we get there, hopefully.
Yeah, well, the more rubber laid down, the more grip, right? And the more, yeah. So we'll see, man. I'm excited. I've never been to Mid-Ohio, so it'll be my first year actually there. I can't wait to go. It's gonna be, yeah, absolutely a good time. So yeah, man, good stuff, bro. So 2023, Brandon, how's your season been so far?
This year or last year? This year?
Sorry, yeah, last year. Yeah. Well, let's start 2023.
Yeah, 2023 was off to an interesting start. Honestly, I don't remember what happened at Daytona, but we didn't win for whatever reason. Oh, I sped in the pit lane. So got a penalty for that. I wouldn't have won anyways. I would have finished second, I think I was in, or I don't even know where I was across the line, but regardless, I had like a 15-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and it was like 1 or 2 miles an hour over. So I was all pissed off leaving there, and yeah, started the year a little bit on the wrong foot with that. And then the week or two after the 200, I was out riding motocross training, getting ready for the Superstock 1000 Championship, and I think it was like a day before I wound up getting hurt. I got a call that my crew chief Eric Gray passed away, and I was obviously like, damn, that sucks. Like, what are we going to do? This is not good. And I was just kind of keeping my head down, keep training, and went out to the moto track one day at Orlando and wound up overshooting a pretty big double and compression fractured my back. So that could have went a lot worse than it did, but definitely not ideal. And then I sat on the couch from end of March until the Loudon Classic, whenever that was. I think it was like 3 months to the day pretty much. And wound up putting together a last-minute program for the Loudon Classic on a Yamaha that my buddy Philip had sitting around, and Ryan Snooks, and put that thing together. Showed up with Rodeo Racing, Gus's dad, and a couple other boys, and almost won the damn thing, actually, which was pretty insane, like just coming off the couch, showing up. And I got super lucky, honestly, like that it rained, because I'm pretty good in the rain, and it was definitely a lot less work riding around there in the rain than it would have been in the dry. So that was kind of a little bit of luck on my side. And, you know, second to last restart, I think I was, no, third to last restart, I was leading the race. second to last restart, I was in second. And then the last one, I crossed the line fourth. So still got a solid finish. And then the next week I was getting a call off JU and Chris, and they were saying, hey, like, we'll have you on the team, but the Ridge was the next weekend, and I was like, hey, give me one more race to get ready, like get strong, get fit, and let's go back to Laguna. Wound up being my first one. Gave me another week and a half of recovery, and I needed that. Actually, after Loudon, I was like toast for a couple of days just with my back. It felt like it was lit on fire again, and chilled for a couple of days and started preparing for the Superbike deal, and wound up getting the call like the weekend right before Laguna that they were like, hey, you need to be here on Monday. And this was like Sunday. They called me. They were like, hey, you actually need to be here Monday. So got a last minute flight, got there Monday night, and tested Tuesday, had Wednesday off, kind of a recovery day for me. Tested again Thursday for a Dunlop tire test with the new asphalt, and raced all weekend. Had a little bit of luck in that race too, actually, and walked away with a fifth in my first ever Superbike race, which for me, I was pretty stoked with that, coming off a big injury. And, like I said, I got lucky. A couple of the boys fell down, but you got to finish the race. So walked out of there with like a fifth, sixth, and a seventh or something like that, which honestly, pretty good first weekend for me. I was pretty happy with it. And just where I was at lap time wise and everything like that, I was pretty not content, but I was honestly slightly surprised with where I was, like I said, coming off of a big injury and never riding a Superbike. So it's kind of a bit of a surprise for me. Did decent and then continued the year and kept improving all year. I think we had a fourth place at Brainerd, I want to say. I qualified fifth and then finished fourth in the one race. So a couple top fives, and went into the off season knowing that I had a job for the next year was really nice and good motivational stuff for me. But I wound up having shoulder surgery right after the season. So then I was out for another 3 months and didn't start riding until the end of February this year. But I feel like right now I'm back pretty much full fitness and still making gains, but doing what I can do.
Oh man, you I have no doubt in my mind you'll be a Superbike champion for sure. Yeah, like I said, I keep saying you're an absolute legend, man. I want to talk about 2024 real quick, and then I want to go to Daytona 200, right? Because that's the biggest race in America, 2-time champ. But how do you see your 2024 season going so far?
Honestly, it's a mix of emotions, really, because I came into the year like with pretty high expectations, and I haven't quite reached most of the goals, honestly, to be honest, with like how I was planning with me and Shaky Byrne, my manager, and Chris and the whole M4 team. And like, we had pretty high expectations for me this year, just from where I started last year. Like I said, coming off of a big injury, where I started that year to, okay, we're having another season on the same bike with the same team, on the same tracks, no injuries, supposed to be pretty much fully fit at the start of the year. And I just had pretty high expectations. I thought, you know what, we'll definitely be fighting for top fives consistently, hopefully sneak out a couple podiums. That was really my goal, was, be consistent top five, couple podiums, and if luck's on our side, maybe sneak out a win. And honestly, it hasn't gone anything like I thought it was going to go, really. We do have a couple top fives, but I haven't quite been consistently there. And we've been kind of struggling a lot this year, honestly, with like getting the bike dialed in and a lot of little things that have been going wrong, like with myself and everything included. It's been a package deal where some days I make mistakes, some days other people are making mistakes, and hey, we're going through it. But we didn't start strong, that's for sure, with 0 points at Atlanta, crashing out of both races. And it was definitely kind of a struggle to get some momentum going. But by the time we hit MotoAmerica, and we snuck in a top five in the rain, and then I think a 6 in the dry or something like that, and that was enough to kind of kickstart the momentum, and kept staying towards the front. I think I had my first ever top 3 in a session at Brainerd. I was 3rd in the first practice, which was good, like cool for me, and just got that weekend off to a good start. And honestly, I don't think that even there, I don't think that I really lived up to my expectation of that weekend, just from where I had finished the year before and the feeling that I had around that track. We were, never quite on the money all weekend. Like first practice, and then we kind of took a little bit of a drop off, which was a bit frustrating for me. I was expecting definitely be fighting for top 5 and then hopefully fight for a podium, but wasn't in the cards there either. And yeah, it's definitely been a grind. We've had a very very up and down season. Even with like Laguna, like best qualifying of the year, qualified 6th, and then struggled in the first race, had a couple issues going on, and then the second race crashed out on the second lap or third lap. So it's kind of frustrating. You know, you get like, usually I struggle in qualifying, then I finally have a good qualifying, like, okay, I can go with the group, and then something either goes wrong or mistakes or not quite riding with as much intelligence as I should be riding with. So it's definitely been a little bit frustrating, but I've been training hard and definitely trying to figure it out, get back to where I think I can be.
Oh, you will. Absolutely, you will. The season's not over with yet, so that
Nope.
elusive win is coming. Absolutely coming. When it does, I'm probably going to lose my voice, just to be honest with you. So I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs, as a lot of people will. Speaking of Shaky Byrne, absolute legend himself, right? How did you, and obviously you was over there in BSB, but how did that whole you and Shaky leak up?
So like my first year over there in BSB was the year he got hurt, but obviously like I've followed BSB before that, so I knew who he was. And then the next year he was kind of starting commentating. I think maybe he interviewed me a couple times, or at least I saw him here and there, just walking around the pits. Won the championship, then wound up leaving for a year, came back, and the beginning of my year in Supersport over there, I was really struggling. Honestly, kind of not a similar situation, but similar to how I am now in Superbike, where I'm kind of not lost, but just kind of in no man's land. Like I'm the guy like right in the middle. Like I need to take the jump to go with those guys, but there's nobody like directly, behind me. So I was kind of struggling, and wound up, somebody was like, hey, just go talk to Shaky. Like he might have some insight for you. And went over there, started speaking to him, and he started helping me like every weekend. We were, improving, and he'd come around to the team and just check in on me and see what's going on. Cause I kind of explained my story being over there alone at 20 years old. And I didn't have anybody coming to the races with me that was like kind of advocating for me. It was really like me versus the team sort of deal. And he started coming around and like kind of speaking up for me a little bit and kind of got everything going in the right direction. And then towards the end of the year, he actually asked me if I wanted to work with him and have him be my manager. And that's where it all started. It kind of basically took off from there. And it was the end of my Supersport championship there. We were kind of talking like, hey, what's the route for the future? And best thing we could think was stock 1,000 here in America, fight for a championship there, move up to Superbike, fight for a championship Superbike after a couple of seasons in that, and then hopefully get over to the World Championship, because I'm still, pretty young. Our goal was, 2022 was stock 1,000. We wanted to do well first year, move up to Superbike the next year. So I'd be 22 on a Superbike and, get my feet wet there, and then hopefully progress through the ranks quickly within 2-3 years and jump over to the World Championship. And struggled again at the beginning of the Altus year on stock 1,000. A lot of different things, riding style, bike setup, not asking for the right things. And eventually got that program on track and reeled off like 4 or 5 podiums in a row at the end of the year, which was enough to like, okay, I'm here. I can actually compete in this championship. And the plan was to ride the Suzuki Superbike, and then some things went on, and I wound up not getting that locked in. So regrouped, went back to the Alta stock 1,000 plan, and then that's when I wound up getting hurt, breaking my back. So that never went through, and then it wound up still getting on the Suzuki Superbike that season anyways, halfway through, and then been trying to climb the ladder since.
That's awesome. So Dave Thomas says Brandon is the shit. Absolutely, Dave. Yeah, man. So I met Shaky Byrne obviously at Cadwell. I was standing there, and he went into the Monster Ducati, Paul Bird's team, right? And they had the biggest, obviously, setup there, right? The big trailer that comes out and all this shit. So I was like, I'm not leaving right here until Shaky comes out. I've been such a fan for him for so long. I got to get a picture and meet him. As soon as he comes out, Brandon, I was like, Shaky, what is up, dude? I'm Simcoe from America. He was like, holy shit, dude. Right? Because they're not used to fans being that way, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as he heard my voice, he's like, we just started talking, and he's like, you know who Brandon Passch is? I was like, yeah, who don't know who Brandon Passch is? So, that kind of started the whole me and him talking. Man, it was an honor because we talked for like 25 minutes. Jamie Whitman, fan of his, the list goes on and on. It was, so we talked a lot about you. He had nothing but high praises for you, which is absolutely amazing. So
yeah, he's the man. Yeah. He's actually pretty funny too. If you get him, catch him for a dinner, he goes a little crazy. He's funny. He's like messing with everybody and just making jokes the whole time.
Yeah, so. I could see that too. His energy he was putting off and the way he was constantly laughing was it's good signs, man. Good stuff, man. Daytona, Brandon. Everybody in America wants to win Daytona 200. You, my friend, has done it twice. You got the double rollies going on, right?
Yeah, baby.
I know, bro. And obviously Chris Tullock, he was on your team. TOBC Racing, which they're absolutely amazing people. Michelle, she had her baby and he's absolutely gorgeous. So first time at Daytona, the first year you won Daytona, going into that race, did you expect to win? Was that like, I'm winning this race, or was you like,
yeah, fully. Every time I've gone to Daytona, I've expected to win. The very first year, it was 5 laps to go. I was in second place behind Fong, and it was me and him 40 seconds ahead of Wyman or whoever was third, and it got red flagged. Somebody had like hit the pit wall and flipped over the pit wall actually onto the track. They red flagged it, restarted it, 5 lap sprint to the finish, and couple of the boys put new tires in. We weren't ready for that. We honestly didn't. I don't even think we knew that was a possibility. I don't think that was even discussed before the race. So got kind of caught out and went back out, wound up getting 5th. Just didn't put myself in the right spot to the line and wasn't able to make it happen. So from that point, I was like, okay, I can definitely win this thing. Came back the next year. Mind you, I don't qualify well at Daytona at all, I don't think. And first year I qualified like 8th. The next year was like 8th or 10th or something. And so I was still like, I can do this, no worries. And right after qualifying, they canceled it for COVID. So that was another frustrating one. It was 2 years in a row. I was like, okay, well, I came down to Daytona, didn't win anything, and now we're going home. So this sucks. Kept my head down, came back with TSE again for the 3rd time. And wound up, I think we qualified again like 8th or something. Wound up finishing 1st. So definitely a pretty unreal feeling. Kind of got out away with Sean there at the end and just drafted him to the line. But that was actually pretty crazy too. Honestly, I didn't think I could really win that one during the race because I was so far back. I was like 15 seconds down with like after the last stop. So we had maybe 16, 18 laps to go. I'm 15 seconds back. I could see Sean up on the banking. He's coming around NASCAR 1 and 2 while I'm coming out of the first horseshoe. And I could see him up there, and I was like, man, there's no way I'm closing this. And I just kept my head down, kept riding hard and just hitting every sector perfect, or as perfect as I could. And I remember I stopped looking for a little while, and then I looked up there again, and I couldn't see him on the banking. So I was like, man, he's like, must have gapped me so bad that like I can't even see him anymore. And like maybe 4 or 5 laps later, I just kept my head down, kept pushing. And I see him coming out of the second horseshoe, and I was like, oh, it's on. And that was just enough to keep my teeth sunk in and keep hammer down for the rest of the race. Caught him with like 4 or 5 to go and just sat there and waited because I was pretty smoked, honestly. I was so tired. Just sat there and judged it, and I was like, okay, I can draft him to the line. I know it. I was rolling out every lap. I was like, okay, I know I can draft him to the line. Never did a trial run or anything. And then last lap, just like hoped for the best, closed my eyes, and just made it happen. So that was pretty unreal moment. Coming in, almost blowing the bike up, just doing burnouts and wheelies. And Yeah, that was sick.
You're an absolute master when it comes to drafting at Daytona. You know, both wins you did, you drafted.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
second one was actually closer. The first one was like 0.01, and then the second one was 0.007 to the line. So, yeah, I've actually somehow been pretty good at drafting. Credit that a lot to racing the little bikes for so long, from 2014 until I didn't get off the little bikes until really 2020. So I was on Moto3. I had a couple times dabbling in the 600 stuff in there, but mainly Moto3 and KTM Cup bike until 2020. Then it was full super sport. Let's go.
let's go. Let's fucking go. That's what I say, right? Like, let's get it, man. That's awesome. I'm, dude, so proud of you at like everybody else is. It's when you win, dude, because we're such fans, dude. It's you give us such great emotions. It's absolutely amazing. And I thank you for that, man, for real.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the best at celebrating when I win for sure.
Absolutely.
Those
You
big
are.
wheelies and burnouts, and usually a pretty decent little party after, a little get together with the boys, and hang out, have a good time, and just soak it in, and then start getting ready for the next one.
That's it. But that's what it's about, right? Being with the team, winning, celebrate, and have a good time. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So let me ask you this: going to Daytona, Brandon. Obviously, it's a one-time deal race every year. Is there anything different you do mentally or physically train different for that race?
Yeah, Daytona specifically is such a high-speed track that I try to keep my weight down as much as I can. So I'll start actually like this winter and the year before, I started like hitting the gym a lot at the beginning of the winter and trying to get a little bit bigger, and I'd gain weight. And then probably the 2.5 months before Daytona mark, I stopped really going to the gym other than like core work, but I started trying to lose weight and get as skinny as I can for Daytona. And then we usually have like a month off after that. So then I start eating a lot again, get a little bit bigger for the Superbike and the super stock bike. And yeah, that race, it's so important to be light, especially for the draft. So it's mainly just cardio. Once we're within 2.5-3 months of the race, even, it's pretty much all cardio focused, and then a lot of like on track riding stuff, go-kart tracks and big tracks and stuff. So
Is there a certain type of diet you do just for the Daytona, or is it the same diet throughout the season?
I used to be a lot more strict with it. As I've gotten a little older, I kind of stopped being quite as strict with my diet. But the way I look at it is like, if you're going to eat however you want, you just have to train a little bit harder, kind of deal. So I've been pretty loose on my diet the past like 2-3 years. But at the time when I won them, maybe I should take my own advice. At the time when I won them, I would literally eat like, wake up in the morning. It's just before Daytona prep anyways. The rest of the year was different. But Daytona prep was like 2-3 eggs in the morning. Don't eat anything. Small salad for lunch, and then a salad for dinner. And that's it for like 2.5-3 months before the race. And I used to get super skinny. Now it's a little bit harder for me to lose like as much weight. But yeah, I just try to lose as much weight as I can before that one.
Yeah, that's good, man. I weighed 270 pounds. I was in a 40 waist, Brandon. I'm down to a 34. I weigh like 210, 205, right? All by changing my diet, straight up.
Yeah.
That and I do a lot of ice baths, and I do push-ups. That's all I do as far as exercise. I do jog every once in a while, but I got bad knees, and it absolutely murders me when I jog. I come home, I wake up the next day, I'm like, I feel like I got beat up by Mike Tyson in my legs. I'm like, oh shit, I need a cane.
Yeah.
Somebody give me some crutches, right? So yeah, it's diet's very important, right? And everything in moderation won't hurt you. But yeah, I feel you on that. I used to, man, just eat whatever the fuck I want, and then I ended up this fat blob. But I'm not an athlete. I'm not a legend like you, winning races and all that good stuff. So so I have a question from a good buddy of mine, Cole King. Do you know Cole? Yeah, he's absolutely awesome. He says, what's the best advice to give for someone looking to race the 200 going into or even during the event?
Best advice is to figure out where you can keep your momentum up and don't slow down. that race is all momentum based, and also pit stops. So you got to have a good crew and got to be able to keep your mile an hour up.
Yeah, facts. So are you Daytona 2025?
That's still in the balance. Obviously, I'd like to do it. I want to break the all-time win record there, and I'm 2 out of 5, so 3 more to go until I match it, and then a 4th one to take the record. But definitely won't be easy. There's a lot of fast guys showing up to the 200 now, as there always has been, but the field is definitely deeper. Like this year, there was probably 20 dudes that were, all could have had a legit shot at winning the race. I mean, you got the factory Yamaha team from World Endurance coming over to do it, and like there's some legit dudes, some legit teams and bikes and riders and all that stuff. So it's not going to be easy, but I think I can still do it. Everything has to check out perfect at the 200. You got to have a clean pit stop, you got to have a good rider, you got to have a good bike, and everything has to click. You got to have good luck with the red flags and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it, man. It's not an easy one to win, and everybody wants to win it, so everybody's kind of a bit more fired up for that one than everyone else. So
says the guy with the 2 rollies.
Yeah, only one on right now, but
I know. That's absolutely awesome, man, dude, man. So yeah, it's I love the Daytona 200. It's another place I've never been. I grew up in Florida. My dad was a fighter pilot, so yeah, I lived there, Orange Park South. I've been to Daytona, but just not for the race, right? It's something I look forward to for sure. So let me ask you this, and I ask a lot of people this that's raced there, that banking, bro, because I know when you pull in, that motherfucker's like this, and you're like, holy shit. For you, was that intimidating at all, or was you just like, you know what?
Wide open. Wide open. I mean, before the first time that I went there, I think it was like 2017, I rode the M4 bike there. It was like a tire test, but I didn't race the 200. And I remember talking to like Chris and a couple of the guys beforehand, and everybody was like, dude, it's literally, you're going down a straight, but just leaned over. You're wide open, full tuck, just leaned over a little bit. Basically feels like you're going in a straight line. And I was like, all right. First lap went out, full tuck, wide open, and I was like, okay, this is fine. But I think like if you go there, you kind of have to like push out of your comfort zone right away to just get adjusted to it, because it's so fast and the walls are so close that like it definitely does shock you a little bit your first time. But I don't know. I feel like I've raced enough at the time when I'd already gone there that I don't know. I just was comfortable right away. I love that place.
Says the legend himself. You guys heard it, right? It's too easy. But so William Posse, what is going on, man? He says, now we know his secrets, talking about you. He says, it's on, kid. Daytona 2025. Big props. Proud of you. I knew you would do it in Superbikes too. So yeah.
Thanks, big dog.
Fucking go.
Yeah, let's get it next year.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. So listen, dude, we're almost coming up on an hour of this, man. And then CJ says, see you boys in Ohio. Absolutely, we will. I can't wait. Yep. There's a lot of people that I haven't met yet that I get to meet. It's going to be good times, man. Good times. So let me ask you this, Brandon. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, where does Brandon Passch want to be in 5 years?
Oh, man. Ideal world is have a Superbike championship or 2 under my belt in 5 years and hopefully be over in the World Championship. I'd like to get my skill level to a point where I can go over there and be competitive. And I know it's going to take a lot of work, but that's kind of where my mindset is like, I want to be one of the best in the world. And yeah, to do that, I feel like I got to win here first. And then once I get to that level, then take the jump up and hopefully get on a good team over there and get some results. And yeah, maybe even fight for a championship.
That's it. I have no doubt. Nobody has any doubt in your talent, man. And you will get there. I promise you, you'll be there. I mean, look how far you come. Like I said, the only American to win in Moto3 BSB, the only one.
Yeah, and the only American to ever race in MotoGP, Moto3.
That's right. I forgot about that. God damn. What year? That was
2019.
Yeah, that's right.
The same year I won the championship, we rode my BSB bike, which was actually so it was in 2019. So my bike was a 2017. And we had a couple up, or maybe it was an 18. Either way, it was like a year or two old compared to what the GP guys were on. And we show up in a Sprinter van with my bike in the back. Only had one bike. Show up in a van, parked right next to Red Bull KTM. And I was like, Jesus, man, this is out of control. And yeah, that was an experience for sure. Those dudes are
Oh,
so fast.
I bet. And then racing. And what track was that you raced at?
Silverstone. So that was one where my size definitely did not help me around there on a little bike. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for people listening that hadn't seen a Moto3 bike, they are literally a little oversized pocket bike, basically,
Yeah.
is what it is. They're
They're
tiny.
tiny.
They're absolutely, and they're like this wide, like Cadwell
Yeah.
Park. Yeah,
Yeah. About the size of that. I want to say when I went over there, I was like 6'1" and like 145, 150 pounds. So I was pretty light for my height. But the next like tallest dude was like probably 5'9", maybe 5'10". So I was like a good couple inches taller than everybody and like 15 pounds probably heavier than everybody.
Yeah.
So at that place, like definitely didn't help, but didn't qualify last, was going faster than the British Championship record, and didn't finish last. So it was a win for us for the situation.
Absolutely. And that's a weekend you'll never forget, right? It's just one of those, I'm out here racing with MotoGP. Are you kidding me right now with everybody in the world? Yeah.
Dude, it was insane. I kind of got addicted to that feeling. I was like, man, I never want to leave the World Championship, but unfortunately it wasn't in the cards for me to be there full time. And I think a little bit of that definitely had to do with just my size and you know, I didn't have the best showing I possibly could have had at Silverstone. So to make that work, I probably would have had to show up there and do something a little bit surprising, you know, but it is what it is.
I wouldn't put it past you to do that, Brandon, right? but you was also on a 2-year-old bike, which is a huge deal over there.
Hey, had it rained, different story.
Right, had it rained,
story. Had it
we'd have been on top of the box, baby. Let's go. Damn right.
I don't know about that, but we would have been way closer. That's for damn sure.
I love it. So you being you love riding in the rain. Is that something you developed as growing up younger, racing? Or is it just
I think just a combination of like, I've always had good races in the rain. I mean, I say always, but like more often than not, like I always have pretty good pace in the rain. Whether I finish the race or not, different story. But I'm always usually pretty quick, so I have confidence showing up to the line just a little bit more than I feel like most people do. And also racing the British Championship didn't hurt that. So there's like quite a few rain races over there, and at least practice sessions and qualifying sessions over there that you just random day you wake up, it's supposed to be sunny and it just starts raining right before you go out. So I think I just got used to riding in the rain over there, and wound up still, I don't know if I ever won a race over there in the rain, but podiums and you know, still going fast. So figured if I can be fast against those guys in the rain who ride in the rain, I should be fast against us who usually we never really have rain races over here. Yeah. So
we don't, and that's one thing my buddy told me. He's like, when you come over here, when you come to the track, dude, you're gonna have to bring an umbrella, a rain jacket, a pair of shorts, a beanie hat. And I'm like, whoa. What are you talking about for the weekend? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And he was not lying. That's proper English weather, right?
You get all 4 seasons in one day over there.
One day, no bullshit, dude. So let me ask you this, dude. What was your favorite food you ate over there?
Jeez,
mine was fish and chips, proper fish and chips with the curry sauce and the mushy, squishy peas, mushy peas. Well, whichever it is.
Dude, honestly, probably like they have like steak pies and like chicken pies and stuff. That stuff's so good. What else? I don't even know. There was so much food that I actually enjoyed over there, but yeah, I don't know. Some of their food taste isn't so great, but they have some good meals, that's for sure.
So I got one question. Black pudding. Did you try it?
Nope, didn't try it. Once I heard what it was, I was like, you guys can keep that. I'm good.
So I had no idea. So my buddy picks me up at Heathrow. We go for a full we in London, full proper English breakfast, right? And he's like, have you ever had black pudding? I was thinking like it's our normal pudding. I was like, yeah, I've had black pudding. He's like, well, you got to try ours. Had no idea, Brandon. It comes out in this little circle. It looked like it had walnuts in it, right?
So
and I'm
gross.
like, bro, so he's like, dude, you got to take a bite. So I was like, while in Rome, right? So here I go, Brandon. I get a big ass bite. I get 3 chews into it, and I pick up my napkin, I spit it straight in it, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know how they eat that. I don't get it.
And
no breakfast sandwiches over there either, really. Like they don't have like a bacon, egg, and cheese. It's kind of crazy.
They had at Cadwell, I got what is it, like the bacon sandwiches, and their bacon's cut like super wide, right? So you
Yeah.
get this bread with these big old fat pieces of bacon on it, and that's it. There's no
Yeah. No
sauce,
egg, no
no
nothing.
nothing. No, and then the brown sauce. Did you like their brown sauce?
Nah, I'm a ketchup and hot sauce kind of guy.
Dude, okay. We got to get into I love hot sauce too. So what kind of level heat are you talking about hot sauce?
Nothing crazy. I don't even know what the one that we use most of the time is, but uh, I just like having that little bit of flavor in your mouth, I guess. I don't know. Like
That's good.
light your tongue on fire and start crying a little bit. That's kind of fun.
Well, good. So have you done the one chip challenge?
No.
Bro, we're gonna have to do that. Me and you gonna have to do it because Alessandro DeMario wants to do it with me too. He's like, dude, I'll do it. I was like,
Yeah, next podcast that we do, we'll do the one chip.
absolutely, we will. Absolutely. And then Northeast Jules says, favorite New York dish.
Jeez. I don't know. Honestly, probably just the pizza up there.
So
Every time I go.
are you a pineapple pizza guy?
Depends on the day. Sometimes I'm feeling the pineapple vibes, but most of the time I just get like plain pizza, honestly.
Yeah,
Just plain like cheese pizza.
I like cheese pizza too. CJ Cohen says, I'll do it. Well, look, CJ, I'll get some and I'll bring them to Mid Ohio. We won't do it during the weekend. It'll be Sunday after you get off the bike.
Sunday afternoon we'll do the challenge live.
Challenge live. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Absolutely we will. Northeast says chicken over rice is his. Yeah, I like so the hot ones. Obviously, have you seen the hot ones on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last dab, I have 3 bottles of that, and that's one of my go-to hot sauces. It is really hot, but it's got really good flavor, right? The hottest shit I ever ate, Brandon, so my buddy, he was trying to burn me up. So he calls me up one day. He's like, hey, are you home? I said, yeah. He said, I got something for you to eat. And I was like, well, I just ate. He's like, I got some hot shit for you. I was like, let's do it. 13 million Scoville peanuts, bro. I ate 6 of them at one time, and it was like the worst thing I've ever did in my life. My taste buds were fucked up for 2 weeks.
Dude, I bet.
Dude, I've never used the ice cream sandwich that way before in my entire life. That's all I'm gonna say, right? Like it was absolutely, yeah, horrible. I ate it and I did it, but I regret it. So yeah, man, I really do. It was I don't recommend it to anybody, but the last dab is I think you'd probably be okay with it if you like spices.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So listen, Brandon, we're coming up on an hour. I know you're a busy man. I know you got a train. We got Mid Ohio coming up. I can't wait to see you out there. And I noticed you got some trophies and helmets in the background.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at him showing off that rollie. I got to show off my fake rollie. Y'all see that right there? So listen, I want to get into what is my favorite part of the podcast, where we get to know Brandon away from the motorcycles, away from the social media and the supermotos, right? So Danielle Daniel says, is the kid excited for Ohio? I say the kid in his voice has dropped from a tenor to Barterine. I can't, I'm late. Oh, well, I'm not a very good speller, Brandon. Anyway, so listen, Brandon, tell us something we don't know about you at all.
Gee, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like I post like pretty much everything I do in my life. I'm pretty open about whatever I'm doing, but I don't know. Weird thing, I guess. I picked up golf this past off season. Started playing golf. I like chilling on the golf course now.
Listen, I play golf too. I'm a beast on Tiger Woods golf. In real life, yeah, ain't happening.
Nope.
I go down here. We had a driving range literally like a mile down the street, but they closed it down because nobody ever went. But I used to love going by there and just, thinking I'm going to hit it far. But
yeah, get a bucket of balls and just go to town.
It's fun, especially when you hit one like 125, 150 yards. You think you're the shit, right? You're like, hell yeah. And then you got this guy right here beside you that's like 90 and he cranks it and you're like, holy shit. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Do you want the rest of my bucket of balls?
Yeah, I just like going there, hanging out with the boys, and then losing a couple golf balls probably.
Dude, I'm laughing at. So Northeast Jules says the freakiest DM you have ever received.
Man, I don't even know. I probably can't even disclose that.
Right. That's awesome, dude. So let me ask you this then. What's your worst habit? I'll tell you what mine is. Mine is like I'm so go all the time, right? So if I get a chance to sit, I procrastinate like a motherfucker. Let's just be honest, right? Um, it's very rare that I do that, but when I get the chance, I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't mowing the lawn. I ain't doing no dishes. I'm gonna sit here and chill for like 3 hours. But what's your worst habit?
Honestly, probably the fact that like I only have two modes, and it's either like I don't miss anything, and I never say no to like going to hang out with my friends or going training or like whatever it is, and I can't stay focused on one thing. Like I can't have, I don't know. I want to do everything all at once, kind of.
That's me. So I got ADHD, and that goes along with that whole I can't stay focused on anything. There's very few things like when it comes to the podcast. Yeah, absolutely. When I go to the races or I watch them, absolutely. But anything outside of that, my brain, I'm scatterbrained. It's like I'll
Yeah,
be sitting here
same.
talking to like my mom, and my mom's telling me something and I'm thinking about who knows what I'm thinking about, right? Or I could be watching a TV show and like I'm all into it for like 10 minutes, and then like 45 minutes goes by and I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah,
And my wife
no,
be
I'm
like,
like
you've been sitting here
between.
watching it the whole time. I'm like, not really.
I'll either be like all into like two activities for like 3 months, and then just change what I want to do, or I do everything all the time. Like I'll either go from like all I'll do is golf and run for like a couple weeks. And then I'll be like, you know what? I need to go cycling. And then I'll just only ride the bicycle for a couple weeks. And then I'll get all into the gym and I'll do that for a couple weeks. And then like I'll be all into riding moto. And then I'll stop doing that and just start riding supermoto. Like I'm kind of just all over the place. Like I can't focus on just one thing and only do one thing other than road racing, I guess. But
What you do absolutely amazing. So listen, there's the question. If you were in the WWE, who from the paddock would you pick to be your tag team partner?
tag team partner, man, I don't know. Probably you'd probably want somebody like Gillum.
Right?
Yeah, probably the biggest dude in there. Probably take Gillum or Yates.
Well, dude,
He's
Ashton,
got
dude,
he's got fighting in his genes.
yes, dude, facts. And what blew me away when I first met Ashton, man, I was like, how tall he was. I was like, holy shit, you're like Andre. He's taller than
Yeah, he's
you.
a big boy. Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
probably an inch taller than me.
yeah, he's yeah. So Aiden Sneed, what is up, my man? He says, any advice for younger riders out there?
Man, honestly, there's like so many ideas that I have in my head, but I'd say the biggest thing is just seat time is the only way to really improve. And if you can't do seat time, just make sure you're training as hard as you can so you don't fatigue when you're on the bike.
Yeah,
Maximize your time.
for sure. So let me ask you this: who's your favorite comedian?
Probably Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle's that shit, right?
Yeah, hilarious.
Dude, there would never be another Chappelle show ever. Like if they come out with that shit right now, it'd be canceled in 3 hours. They'd be like, get that
Yeah.
shit off of here, right? Yeah, absolutely. So listen, I'm into books. I don't read books, Brandon. Audio book, right? Is that something you do too? Do you listen to any audio books or read?
No, I used to a little bit. Like I said, I go through phases of doing stuff. So I went through like a couple month period where I was reading books for a little bit, and then that stopped pretty quick. And I don't listen to like audiobooks, but I will tune into like podcasts and stuff while I'm driving. Um, Typically Joe Rogan podcast.
Dude, who don't listen to fucking Joe Rogan,
Or
right?
Theo
Yeah,
Von's podcast is pretty funny too.
I like him, and I've been. My buddy told me, Danny Jones. I've been listening to him. He's kind of like Rogan in a way. Interviews pretty much the same people, right? So Derek Sanchez King says favorite track in America, Derek, or in the world, but we'll just stick with MotoAmerica.
MotoAmerica favorite track is probably I have the most fun and usually get pretty decent results at Brainerd.
I could have swore you'd have been like the Daytona 200. Can't you see what
Yeah,
time it
or
is?
Daytona. Brainerd or Daytona. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like riding everywhere, so it's not like one of them jumps out at me as like, oh, I'd love to go ride there if anywhere. I just want to ride anywhere I possibly can all the time. So I don't necessarily have a favorite. There's definitely some that I don't like quite as much, but Yeah, I don't know. I'll go even the ones I don't really like. I'd still rather go ride there than sit at home.
Let me ask you this, dude. If you was to pull up your phone right now, what songs in it that you're listening to currently?
I'm gonna have to pull up the phone for that too.
Are you a Young Dolph fan?
Honestly, I listen to everything. Like
Yeah,
literally, I go through phases with my music too. So I'll be like all into like
country.
country music, and then like rap, and then I'll go to like uh, reggae music or like house music. Literally, I'll listen to anything, um, and just enjoy it. I don't
Yeah.
really mind. Like first thing I do with every vehicle I get is a nice sound system. And then once I have that, I don't care what music you put on. I just like to just sit in there and listen to music while I'm driving. And yeah, I don't know. We've been listening to all kinds of stuff recently.
Kevin Rodeo, what is up, man? He says Afro Man. Really?
Yeah, Afro Man. Yeah, definitely some Afro Man. Waka Flocka.
Yeah. Because I got high. Because I got high. Yeah, that's a great song. Yeah, absolutely, man. So let me ask you this, man. What's for dinner tonight, Brandon?
That's actually a good question. I was just kind of contemplating that in my head while I was over here on this podcast. Planning on going to the gym after this, so I don't really know what's going to be open. Probably Chipotle or like Panera Bread or something like that. It's usually the go-to.
Chipotle and Panera Bread. Man, our Panera Bread, we had one out here. We got one left. All the others around here closed for some reason. I don't know why. Um, but let me ask you this, dude. If you can invite any three people in the world, Brandon, to a private track day, right? That you're actually holding, it could be anybody. Mark Marquez, Joey Dunlop, dead or alive. What three people you bring into the track?
That's a tough one, man. What kind of does it have to be a big bike track, or could it be kart tracks,
It
or
could be, dude. This is you in your day. What three people you bringing anywhere?
man, I don't know. There's so many good options, but as far as like people that I would just want to meet and just say that I rode with, it's probably Rossi, Marquez, and man, I don't know who the third would be. I feel like we could have a pretty insane day on like a TT track or a supermoto track if we brought old James Stewart along or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I got a pretty long list of people that would be sick to ride with. Supermoto kart track day would be sick with like me, Ashton. I don't even know. Probably Stewart, Axel Hodges, or somebody like that, just to go rip some wheelies and goof off with. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many people that you could choose for that list.
It is. It is. Every time I ask that question, my brain races too, and my answer changes every time, except for two people would be obviously the GOAT, Valentino Rossi, right? And
Mandatory.
Joey, dude, mandatory, and Joey Dunlop, dude. I always, of course, he's not with us no more, but dude, what a fucking legend Joey Dunlop was, right?
Yeah,
Um,
sick.
and his son Michael, right, the greatest of all time now. Which in our lifetime we got to be lucky to even see that, which is again fucking absolutely amazing. Um, so let me ask you this, Brandon: if you had your own private island, what racetrack would you have on it?
I'd have to have two. I'd have a big track and a kart track. Um, Kart track, I'd probably put. I'd make my own layout, honestly, for a kart track, and probably for the big track too. I'd honestly, if I'm paving something, I want it to be exactly how I want it. So we'd just pave it ourselves, make a nice mix of some elevation, a couple flat corners, a couple 90-degree lefts, a couple 90-degree rights, a couple 180s, a couple chicanes, literally a mix of everything. And probably throw an asphalt jump or two in there somewhere.
I was gonna say
And
you gotta have a Cadwell mountain jump in that bad
yeah,
boy.
exactly. For the kart track and the big track, they both need a couple asphalt jumps, and yeah, a lot of elevation, some blind corners, some flat corners, and just a real good mix of everything.
I love it, man. I love it. So, do you have any tattoos?
Yeah, I just have like my numbers and stuff on my wrist, but nothing else yet. Thinking about going to hang out with PJ a little bit more and get covered head to toe.
PJ's got a lot of them too.
Yeah, he's got some
Nothing like
crazy.
Aaron Canet, right? Aaron Canet's got
No,
them from here all the way down.
yeah, actually, this. So I have one of Aaron's helmets in here, and
Oh, nice.
so he kind of like uses his like tattoo art on his helmets and stuff, which is pretty sick.
Dude, that's a
So
sick ass helmet.
his are actually pretty cool. All super like just trippy looking designs, I guess. I don't know.
It is. I like it. That tank shroud right here on my wall is actually Alex Marquez's Mark VDS Moto 2 tank shroud that I actually got from him.
Oh
And
yeah,
he signed it. It's pretty badass. Everybody always asks me, "What's the tank shroud is that in the background?" That's
that is
Alex
sick.
Marquez, dude. It's sick as fuck, dude. For real. Are you a beer or a wine guy?
Beer all day, Miller Lite, baby.
He said Miller Lite,
Miller
dude.
Lite, we're on.
I love it. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars,
What character would Brandon Passch be?
probably Chewbacca.
I love it, dude. I love it, dude. Oh yeah. Celebrity crush.
Honestly, I don't really keep up on that stuff too much. Like I don't even know who's popular or not anymore. But man, I don't know. I don't really have one. Love them all.
Okay. Facts. That's what I say. I love all women, right? It's something that I explain motorcycles like when you have a bike, right? And I consider them all women. So you have a bike, you fall in love with your bike, you get to know her inside and out, the way she rides, what she likes, what she don't like, how to handle her, and then you get another bike, right? She's a new woman, new girlfriend. Now you gotta learn her likes and dislikes and what way to ride her properly and
Yeah, it is the same deal, I guess. Pretty much the same thing.
right? Absolutely, it is. You gotta learn to ride her good, all that good stuff. Let me ask you this, Brandon. What advice would you give your younger self?
Younger self would probably be not to get distracted by some of the people around you. Stay focused and don't like goof off or like act like an idiot so much.
But that's hard to do. That's hard not to do. I mean, right?
And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people like me. Probably part of the reason why some people don't love me so much.
Oh man, we all love you, Brandon. What are you talking about, man? Who cares what people think? And that's something that I had to learn to overcome too. Is like, who cares what people think?
Yeah, I've kind of always lived like that. Just like act like myself, and people are either gonna like it or they're gonna hate it. And usually, I feel like people more often like it than not like it. So
that's a fact.
It's a positive, but I just try to always just be myself. And some people are not gonna love it so much, but you got to make yourself happy,
That's it. Absolutely. Are you currently watching binge watching anything on Netflix or Amazon or anything?
No, honestly, I don't pay attention to Netflix or any of that stuff. I don't watch any TV shows. I don't have time. I wake up in the morning, go get my training in, get some phone calls and emails in, and then usually riding in the afternoons, or I'm in bed sleeping. So
I feel you. Yeah, I wish I could sleep more. That's something. But I always tell my friends and everybody, dude, you can sleep when you're dead, right? Forget sleeping. Let's just go.
Yeah,
that's it.
The worst thing is like at the moment I'm one of my only people that I know that like I'm home most days, so I'm home and I just make my own training schedule and kind of just live pretty freely. And every time I want to go ride, nobody else can go ride, so I'm like, damn, I got to ride alone all the time. And there's definitely worse problems to have, but it's definitely something that's not quite as fun anymore for me. Is all my friends that I used to race and train with, now everybody's kind of just separated doing their own thing, so it makes training days definitely a lot more boring and monotonous for sure.
Yeah. And you're in Florida, correct?
Right now I'm in Jersey.
Okay, all right. In Jersey. So my grandpa, I'd say, in Bayonne. Yeah, if you're
right
Bayonne.
On.
Yeah. I used to, man, I miss going up there. I went to Broadway Bagels. They had the best breakfast bagels in the world. Oh my God. And then there was a pizza joint down the street called Mona Lisa. Oh my God, it was so good. So yeah, I feel you on that, man.
Jersey is it's its own breed, that's for sure. Like we still have the farm next door, so I still have a little woods track there, and I just ride from my house into the trails, and you can kind of, if you know where you're going, you can kind of go out for all day, just riding in the woods all day. And then got the beach just 20 minutes from the house, and kind of got a little bit of everything. It's pretty sweet.
Jersey Shore, baby, here we come. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like my dad owns that place at this point.
I love it, dude. I love it. So Artie Meeker, dude, I hope you had a proper mega birthday, bro. I talked to Kevin. He said you took a whole week off for your birthday. Man, I wish I could do the same, right? But he says, my boy Brandon, what is up, guys? What is up, Artie? Let me ask you this, man. Are you into any other sports? Like, do you watch football or soccer or anything like that?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't really do. I literally watch nothing. I'll watch like a little bit about like cycling, like mountain bikes, and that's really it. And then the back of my eyelids. Real good at watching that.
I feel you on that. The back of my eyelids. I like it. So,
yeah, or whatever I'm racing in, I watch that.
Yeah.
Whether I'm racing superbikes, I'm watching always just superbike races from World Championship, BSB, MotoAmerica, old MotoAmerica and AMA races, old BSB. Like I'll watch everything to do with like the type of bike that I'm riding. I used to like obsess that when I was racing like 600s. I'd only watch super sport or super stock 600 races from anywhere in the country, just watching how they ride the bikes. And then same when I was in super stock or Moto3, like I really study like what I'm doing. And that's all I really watch.
Dude, I love it. Artie Meeker says, thanks. Yep. All week off. Everyone should take my birthday week off.
Yeah, let's do it next year, Artie.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, we will. Dude, that's freaking awesome. So are you a PlayStation or Xbox guy?
Xbox, for sure.
What's in the console?
Call of Duty or Ride 4 or Ride 5, whatever they're on now.
Yeah, Ride 5. I just started Ride 5. I'm like a couple hours into it. It's such a great game. It's like Gran Turismo for motorcycles, right?
Yeah, they're so good.
It's fucking awesome. And plus you get to ride the old school bikes, the ZX7Rs, the R7s, all that good
and
stuff.
Pretty much any track you want.
Any track.
It's good. Like you can kind of play around on there and you're subconsciously learning where you're racing next. So it's always a good thing for me. Even like car games too. Like if the ride game or whatever doesn't have the track that I'm going to, usually there's like a car game that will have it. So,
oh yeah, for sure. And that's a good way to actually learn a track, right? You don't get to learn all the bumps and all that good stuff, but you get to know what direction you're going in.
Yeah, biggest thing, like learn the layout before you show up and kind of start one step ahead of most people, because a lot of people don't put in any work beforehand.
Yeah, that's true. So do you work? Like, do you have a job?
Yeah, air fence on the race weekends. I'll do air fence with my buddy Zach Thursdays and Sunday night after the races to go tear it down. Other than that, racing's my job, which is pretty cool. And filming some videos for like Insta360 came on board this year. So I've been doing a lot of videos with those guys and living life. Hopefully I can keep living life as my job forever.
Dude, yeah, absolutely you will. Absolutely. So have you ever thought about like what's after racing, Brandon?
Hopefully not much. Hopefully chilling on the beach. But right. I think that's everybody's pretty much dream is to kind of, I don't know, end racing and kind of be able to just do whatever you want kind of life, I guess. But realistically, I'm going to have to get some kind of a job probably when I'm done racing because, it doesn't really pay the bills too well. But I don't know. I've never really thought about it too much. Probably some kind of blue collar work. I don't know. Just I can't sit inside. So definitely have to be like more of an outdoor kind of job.
Yeah, I couldn't sit inside. I don't see how people sit at a desk all day staring at a computer screen.
Yeah, and I like mixing it up too. So I kind of need something that's like you're doing something different all the time, kind of.
No, yeah, I agree. So, do you have any superstitions?
Yeah, when I'm getting kitted up, right boot first and left glove first, every time.
I love it, man. I love it, dude. So, dude, if you could choose one superpower, what superpower would you choose?
I don't know. Probably like time travel.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That'd be pretty sick. Yeah,
it would be. It will be. Well, listen, dude, this has been a blast. We're an hour and 20 minutes in this. I'm gonna let you get off here so you can go get your training in and hit that Chipotle up, right?
Yeah, thank you,
Brandon. dude, you're very welcome. Listen, it's been an absolute honor. I finally caught him, y'all. Yes, let's go. But I will see you at Mid Ohio, and go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at on all social media platforms.
Yeah, so YouTube's just my name, Brandon Passch. Facebook's Brandon Passch Racing, and then Instagram's just Brandon_Passch. And yeah, I'm usually pretty active on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And yeah, just look my name up. You'll pretty sure you'll find it somewhere.
You will find it. Absolutely, you will. So listen, guys, I just want to say thank you for everybody that watched this podcast. It'll be uploaded to Spotify, iHeartRadio. The only place I'm not on it is Apple right now. Is because my laptop, so my first laptop took a shit. So I stole my wife's MacBook, right? But it's so old, it only does the 14 update. And in order for me to be on Apple, it has to have at least a 17. So
Shit.
yeah, that's what I said. Fuck, are you kidding me right now? But anyway, but yeah, so it'll be out over there. Listen, all my sponsors: Next Level Financial with Seth Starnes, Bison, RD Racing, Clothing Kings, Flying Eyes Optics, Chef Eats. Have you had Chef Eats yet, Brandon?
Yeah, actually, I tried some at CCS Race Summit Point.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good stuff.
Convenient.
It is. It really is. It's good stuff. So yeah, listen, thank you guys so much, and stay tuned because I got more coming up. And Brandon, I will see you at Mid-Ohio.
Awesome. We'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for having me on here. And a big shout out to the whole Vision Wheel M4XR Suzuki team, sponsored by Mission Foods, Arai Helmets, RST Leathers, Ryan the Barber hooking it up, Luckstar VIP, Evolve GT Track Days, and everybody else that helps us out. It means a lot. And keep it tuned for some new merch coming soon.
Absolutely. Nothing but love for everybody. Thank you guys so much. And give me 1 second, Brandon, because I need to get that question from you.